This is a video response to the BRB 30,000's video on Prince of Darkness. First of all, loved the video, thought it was fantastic. I'm a recent subscriber and I really love your videos. I think they're great, and it's really great to see someone else who's so into sort of John Carpenter's work, in the same way that I am. So if any of you guys are watching this video, check out his channel down here, and there'll be hopefully a link to the video as well. And if you like his stuff, please subscribe to him. Anyway, so yeah, Prince of Darkness. I've always loved this film, and I think you're completely right when you say that it's probably the quintessential Carpenter film for Carpenter fans. It's got everything in there. It's got the whole sort of, obviously, the supernatural element. It's got the siege element as well from a lot of his other films, and it's got a fantastic Carpenter score. Visually, it's really interesting. I think it's beautifully shot, and there are some really strong characters in there as well. And yeah, I love the film. I always have. I always think it's one of Carpenter's most sort of haunting films. It's the like you mentioned, it's the mid film in Carpenter's apocalyptic trilogy, and I put it up there with anything else Carpenter's done. I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people either don't know about the film, or they instantly think of something like The Thing. And you're right when you mentioned The Thing. The Thing is wonderful, and technically it is his masterpiece. But I've got a real soft spot for Prince of Darkness. I agree with basically everything that you said. I mean, the one thing that we didn't mention, which I'm sure you know about, when you said that he wrote the film under the pseudonym of Martin Quatermass. And Quatermass, for those who don't know, Quatermass is a really famous character from British television from the 1950s and 60s. There were also a number of films made by Hammer Horror that were quite successful as well. And Quatermass normally involved some strange, either supernatural or alien threat, and Quatermass was a doctor who'd be called in to try and sort of investigate it and try to solve whatever puzzles are there, or combat whatever was there. In fact, in many ways it was the forerunner to Doctor Who. And yeah, I think there's a lot of that in this film. I think there's a lot from the Quatermass TV series. I think that when you mentioned the whole idea about science and religion, and how Carpenter doesn't really take a stance on either, sort of they are complementary in this film. I think a lot of that can be seen within the Quatermass TV series and some of the films as well, where you have scientists, rational men, dealing with supposedly irrational or out of the ordinary events. So I think that's why he used that name, Martin Quatermass. I think it was sort of saying, this is kind of going back to that TV series and to those films. Other than that, I can't really think what else to add. I think you're right about the lead. It's a peculiar thing because the leads in Carpenter's films are always so strong, and in Prince of Darkness, he's not really that strong. It was a really interesting point when you mentioned that the female lead in many ways epitomises the sort of standard Carpenter hero more so than the male lead, and I hadn't really thought about that, but when I think about it after you mentioned it, it's a really good point. I think what's most haunting about the film is the messages from the future. They always stayed with me, and obviously the ending is just absolutely fantastic. You mentioned that it was the first film that Carpenter did, after doing a string of studio movies, and I think I'm right in saying that this was when Carpenter basically couldn't find work. because he had had a number of flops. At least I think, you know, Big Trouble in Little China was like a huge disappointment at the box office for him, and that was down to the fact that it had been marketed wrongly by the studios. It had nothing to do with Carpenter, because Big Trouble in Little China is a fantastic film. But I think Carpenter found it difficult to find work for a while, and I think in this period where he made things like They Live and Prince of Darkness, I think it was a really fruitful turn of events for him, where he had to go low budget again. But in saying that, when you watch Prince of Darkness, there's no way that you can tell that this film is low budget, because it's shot in a very cinematic way. It's the Carpenter's always brilliant at his compositions, for his shots. He's always, you know, they're always really wide, because he's always using like anamorphic lenses, and it feels cinematic, even though it's really just in a small number of locations. But anyway, so if you haven't seen Prince of Darkness, I really would recommend to anybody that's watching this, go and watch it, because I think it's probably one of the best horror films ever made, and like you said, it's a film that is starting to really gain an audience. Unfortunately, with most of Carpenter's work, it takes 20 years for a film to gain an audience. It'll be interesting now. The Ward has just came out, and I've not been able to get to see it yet, but hopefully I will soon. And it'll be interesting to see if that film gains an audience, you know, sort of 10, 15, 20 years down the line, if it doesn't now. So anyway, great video. Keep up the good work. I look forward to your future vids, and remember guys, check out the BRB 30,000's channel right down there. Alright, so I think that's about it. Thanks again.